Hey gang, it's Chris Angel coming at you for another episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. I almost missed today. I didn't miss it. I mean, I was going to do it, but it's like close to 10 o'clock now, p.m. It was a good day with the family, hanging out. Today was Memorial Day at the time of this recording. That was what today was. Great time with the family, and I am carving out time for you. So here's today's topic for this episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. We're talking about content sparks. A lot of times what I run into when people see that I do a lot of videos or they wish they were doing more videos is they say, I don't even know what to say. Like, how do you come up with so many things to say? Well, the reality is, even today, I was like, what should I say tonight? I don't know. We're going to go live. We're going to do it. So what should we say? Well, I don't just think up things out of thin air. I have a notes app in my phone. And on that app, I just keep track of sparks, right? Like if I'm reading a book or I'm listening to a podcast or I have a life lesson where I'm like confronted by my shadows or a good tip or a hack like this content sparks is a hack for you. When I think of things, when I'm inspired, more importantly, when I'm inspired by things, I put them in my app, in the notes app in my phone. So I always have, in fact, I would say probably 2 to 3 items a day get added to that list. And listen, guys, if you're present to life at all, throughout your day, you will be inspired by or prompted by something in life. Many of us are being taught by life every day, but we're just not paying attention, right? In fact, we might pay attention for the lesson. We're like, oh, that was a really good thing today. But then we don't think about how we could take that and pass it on to somebody else so that they could benefit from our lesson. So part of content, gang, is simply you capturing what life has taught you and sharing it on with others. I think sometimes people in content marketing think, I have to wait until I have all of life figured out before I'm valid to share anything out with anybody else. That's not how this works. Nobody has life figured out, right? Like, we're all helping each other move forward. I can't remember, I heard it the other day. It was like, maybe this should be an episode I write in my notes, but somebody said the other day, we're all just walking everybody home. Like all of us as humans, we're all just walking each other home. I can't remember where this was. I think that was maybe in a Robcast, but that's kind of it, right? Like some of us have perspective that others don't around certain areas of life and vice versa. Some of us are further down the marathon of life than others, but that doesn't mean that we have it all figured out. But what life does do is it does teach each of us something. That if we were generous and present and we recognize the spark for more than just our own lesson, but a spark that could spark others, then we would write that down and we would share it out with others, even knowing that we didn't have all of life figured out, right? So how do we do these Facebook Lives all the time? I do them this is my 50th episode in a row, right? And I think I've done a couple double headers, so we're probably 48 days in a row of doing Facebook Lives. And my intention is to go for another year or two, right? So, listen, that's pretty great for me in terms of number of at-bats. Within a year, I'd have 365 plus episodes in a year. That's a lot of me. That's a lot of practice for me, right? I'm going to challenge some of you. Some of you that watch this have already messaged me and said things like, well, I only have time for one a week. Okay. Hey, that's fair. Here's my challenge for you. My challenge is that life is teaching you more than one time a week. You are learning something every day. And if you would simply jot down the sparks you have, and then when it comes time to share through a video or a live Facebook video, you would already have the prompt. The rest of it is completely in your head about whether you're quote unquote ready or not. Some of you are over preparing for what you say in these videos, and the muscle you need to flex is, I don't want to say shooting from the hip, but the muscle you need to flex is getting in the conversation, right? If you've lived your whole life being the prepared person, it's time to swing your pendulum the other way a little bit and practice a little bit of unpreparedness. Speak from the heart. The challenge, guys, with preparing is that a lot of times when you prepare, it puts you in your head. And where people want to consume your content is not from your head, but from your heart. You need to flex the muscle called getting present to the thing life has taught you and then being vulnerable and sharing that with us. And it might suck. You might suck at it. You might be terrible. And that's okay, right? Like that's part of you being vulnerable with others and being willing to embrace their grace for you and your imperfections. But that's the game, right? That's the game. If what you think marketing is being perfect, then you've got the game of marketing all wrong. Marketing is about relationship. Marketing is about connection. And connection happens in vulnerability and transparency, not in perfection. In fact, I would say perfection makes connection harder because people can't relate to that. It makes you untouchable. It makes you unapproachable, right? When you're human, when you forget what you were going to say, when you stumble over your words, when you're like, hang on guys, I forgot what I was going to say. Let me find it for a minute. Okay, here's what I think I'm trying to say. And then you say it. That makes it real. Now, for those that don't have a relationship with you, will they just pass on your video? Maybe. But who cares? Where are they going to be in a year from now? That's not, you see, like, that's not what this is about. Like, this is about you doing this for the next year or 2 or 3 or 5. And to the point where you've mastered your message. Because, look, guys, in reality, it's those people. It's everybody from now and that follows you continuously. Like many of you have stayed with me through these episodes and these shows, even before these shows. Some of you I've known for over 10 years, and you watch my Facebook Lives, and you're still with me. We have a relationship. And then there are others that will find my content 5 years from now, when I've mastered it more than I've mastered it now. And all of this from now till then is me practicing so that they can get the best of me. There are people I haven't even met yet, right? There are people that haven't even come across my content yet, that in 2 years, 5 years from now, will come across my content, and it'll make a massive difference for them. And I owe it to them now to keep going live. So how do we keep going live? Well, we do it through Content Sparks. Content Sparks are those things where you get inspired by life through a book, a podcast, a conversation, a life lesson, something. And you're like, man, this was really profound for me. You write it down. I put it in a notes app. You could put it in a journal. The thing about journals, though, gang, is that, once you're done with the journal and you archive it on your bookshelf or wherever you put it, then it's harder to find, it's harder to access all the sparks that you've accumulated. So in my phone, it's just always with me, right? It's hard to pull out a journal on the, when you're walking or something, but with my phone, I just jot it down. So get in the habit of writing down the things that inspire you, that spark you, and then use those as a content spark for your Facebook Lives, right? Or whatever kind of video you're doing, for whatever kind of content marketing you're doing. Could be a blog post, Twitter post, Instagram image. It could be a lot of things, gang. But here's what I do know, that if you want to get good at content marketing, if you want your content marketing to matter, if you want your content marketing to inspire, then you've got to get good at it. And the only way you get good at it is by doing it over and over and over. The more times you do it, the better you'll be. And so you need things like Content Sparks to get you in the game. Because guys, I'll tell you, without Content Sparks, without a list, I'd sit there and I'd be like, what do I want to say today? And if I just try to come up with a random topic to say something, that would be better than nothing, by the way, for the practice, right? But if I just come up with something that's random, that came from no spark, there was no spark in my soul about it, well then you're going to, one, I'm not going to communicate to you with any spark, and two, you're not going to feel any spark. So start getting present every day to the things that spark your soul. Capture those in a notes app on your phone, and then start going live. If you don't want to do lives, fine, but lives work for me because it's like I'm live right now. Like this is it. Like this is not rehearsed. I'm live right now, right? When I do it pre-recorded, I find that I do multiple takes. I stop recording, I record again, I stop recording, right? But when it's live, I'm like, I'm here. I can't stop now. I'm like, I'm here. I am. So That's it, gang. That's today's topic, Content Sparks. Start finding the things that life is teaching you and capture those so that you can share them back with us. Even if you don't have life figured out, it doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is that you're sharing something that sparked you because it will spark us. There you have it, gang. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. Until tomorrow, when we go live with episode 51, have a great night.